This is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Joy Taylor, officially a member of The Herd, is joining us. Welcome. Sponsored by Firestone, Complete Auto Care. Keep your car running newer, longer. Joy, it's great to have you. We had fun yesterday. Yesterday was your official day one. You got a cake and stuff.
I did get a cake.
We were retweeting all your stuff. You're very popular. The kids are really into Joy Taylor.
Thank you, Colin.
It's great to have you here. Okay, so here we go. You know, our presidents always talk about fake news.
Yes.
And the reason that's somewhat effective, it is somewhat effective, is because there is a lot of fake news out there, and I'm seeing it right now in the NBA. So Kawhi Leonard, story broke Friday in our show, I want to play for the Lakers. And all these NBA guys, Celtics are going to have a deal, and Pacers are going to have a deal, and it's fake news. It's fake news. Kawhi Leonard said, I want to play for the Lakers. The Spurs are trapped. Okay? Don't kid yourself. Nobody's going to bring him in and give up valuable assets when Kawhi Leonard won't give you a guarantee he's going to stay. The reason fake news works as a moniker is because there's a lot of fake news out there. You got to do business, if you're the Spurs right now, with the Lakers. You got to do business with them. You're trapped. Kawhi Leonard. By the way, what do you know? Mark Stein, he doesn't do fake news. New York Times, Mark Stein, good NBA guy. Friend, knows what he's doing. Quote, the Spurs don't want to do business with the Lakers, but if San Antonio gets the most out of the trade, they'll do business with the Lakers. Duh. Danny Ainge won't give up second-round draft picks. He's going to give up Gordon, Hayward, and Kyrie Irving and a number one pick to get Kawhi Leonard? Forget it. There's three things happening here with this Kawhi Leonard story. Number one, Kawhi Leonard and his uncle are showing every player in this league how to get it done. If you are a great player and you are unhappy and you have just 1 year left on your contract, you name a specific team you want to play for. And even the all-powerful Greg Popovich has to do business with him. No general manager in this league, it's career suicide. You can't give up assets for Kawhi Leonard to rent him for a year. So number one, Kawhi and his uncle are very, very savvy here. If you're a star, you got a year left, name a specific team. Kyrie Irving got lucky. He said, here's 7 teams I'll go to. He got lucky. He ended up in Boston. He never mentioned Boston. He could have ended up in Orlando. NBA stars have the ability, because of their collective bargaining agreement, to occasionally have leverage. Use it when you can. In the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, best player, can't. Trapped. That's their CBA. Their lawyers aren't as good. But in the NBA, if you're a star, you get these little windows. Kevin Durant had one. Paul George had one. Chris Paul had one. Kawhi's got one. LeBron's had a couple. Use leverage when you can in life. Tip of the cap to the uncle and Kawhi Leonard. Number two, this Magic Johnson hire, it seems to be working. I mean, the Lakers, they pitched LaMarcus Aldridge twice. Nah, not interested. They begged Dwight Howard to come here. No, I'm not going to stay. I'm not interested. And now, with Magic, we got some momentum here. We got some inertia here. We got Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Paul George, all appear to want to come here. And they're all really, really good. They're all really, really good. All three will be Hall of Famers if they continue playing at the level they're playing at. We know LeBron is, but Kawhi and Paul George are going to be great two-way players, all-time guys. Magic Johnson didn't have a lot of experience being a general manager. But you know what he has? The name Magic. He's a legend. And that sells to young, impressionable stars who want to build mega careers in and out of basketball. This Magic Johnson hire, forget the fact they aced the draft last year. They may trade all those guys to get good players. Magic Johnson is crushing it. He is the reason all these guys, after 5 years of dysfunction, they are all lining up for the Lakers. Here's the number 3 thing. According to sources, Paul George rumors, Lakers aren't sure that they're going to get Paul George. Oklahoma City's going to sign him, or at least offer a max deal. This is sort of muddying the waters here a little bit. So Paul George can make $175 million in 5 years in OKC. He can make about $130 in 4 years with the Lakers. Now you can tweak those a little bit, sign and trade it. But ask yourself, if you get LeBron and you get Kawhi Leonard, isn't Kawhi Leonard when healthy better and younger than Paul George? I think he is. And I like Paul George. But when he's healthy, I like Kawhi a little bit more, and he's younger. And he's a better defender. So 3 things are happening. Kawhi Leonard's giving you the map on how to do it. Number 2, the Magic hire, it's working out. He's the reason all these guys are lining up. And number 3, you start looking at the Lakers, if they get LeBron and Kawhi, and they've got Kuzma and Brandon Ingram and Paul George, that's a lot of forwards. I'm not sure if the Paul George thing will work out. Bill Plaschke, LA Times, on our show the other day, I asked him, came down to either. Wouldn't you take Kawhi Leonard? If you gave me a choice of Kawhi and Paul, and I like Paul, I think I'd take Kawhi. Would you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I would. And I think Kawhi can be, Kawhi's been a Finals MVP. Paul George seems to disappear sometimes and be like, I can't get that game 6 out of my mind in the playoffs this year. So yes, and I think LeBron maybe wouldn't even need Paul George in this case. In this case, perhaps even knowing Kawhi's there, LeBron wouldn't, PG can stay in Oklahoma City, which some people say he might do, and LeBron would come anyway.
Good stuff for the Lakers. These are really, really good problems to have. Let me shift gears to this. I've often said Oprah, out of every broadcaster in America, is the one broadcaster, obviously at a much smaller level, that I've tried to kind of watch and monitor how she did her business. Oprah, to me, is sort of my idol in this business. How she now owns a network, I never will. But she's kind of been the guiding light, how she's done it, built her brand. And I also like Tom Brady. And when they converged last week, it was like a Mardi Gras for me. So Oprah called Tom Brady, probably on a private jet flying to Hawaii. Hey, Tom, you want to come on my show? And Tom's like, yeah, sure, Oprah. He was probably on a private jet too. I'll come on your show. And they met, and she asked a bunch of questions. And this was the interesting question, and this was the interesting answer.
Is there something going on with you and Belichick?
No, I love him. Mm-hmm. I love that he's an incredible, coach, mentor for me. And he's pushed me in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And like everything, we don't agree on absolutely everything, but that's relationships.
All right. If your wife asked you, do you love me? And your answer was this, well, I love you, and we don't always agree on stuff. And that pause, that's called a divorce, and it's going to happen in about 6 weeks. Okay, what Tom talked about there was not love. What Tom talked about is respect. Love is irrelevant in sports when you're dealing with legends. Respect is everything. Because all legends in sports, coaches too, are selfish. Kobe selfish. MJ selfish. LeBron selfish. Durant selfish. They're all selfish. Even the good guy, Steph Curry. You don't get that good unless you're selfish. Give up friends. Give up girlfriends. Give up family stuff. Saban selfish. Belichick selfish. Peyton Manning selfish. Favre selfish. Pete Carroll selfish. They're all selfish. And what selfish people who are legends demand is not love. What they demand is, can you help me? And if a legend keeps you around, it's not because they love you. It's because they feel you can help them. And Tom Brady knows Belichick helps him. And Belichick knows Tom Brady helps him. LeBron has dumped friends. D. Wade didn't even give him a heads up. Hey, LeBron, want to go to practice? Yeah, I'm in Cleveland. I'm no longer in Miami. LeBron has dumped friends. You know who LeBron never dumps? People that are still in their prime. They may dump him. He doesn't dump them. The way Belichick starts that, I pause. Well, I love Bill Belichick. No, what you were saying is You respect Bill Belichick. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards don't love each other. They may say it if interviewed by Oprah, but what they do is respect each other. Keith Richards is better with Mick. Mick is better with Keith Richards. When you're talking about all-time legends, this goes from owners, this goes Elon Musk to Mark Zuckerberg to Bill Gates to Tom Brady to LeBron. Legends are selfish. It ain't about love. They'll dump you in a second if they love you. They will never dump you if they respect you. And respect starts with, can you help me? I demand you help me or I get rid of you. Give me that answer one more time. Can we play that one more time? Just imagine if Oprah was asking Tom about his wife and this was the answer, because they used the word love. Play it again.
Is there something going on with you and Belichick?
No, I love him. You know, I love that he's a incredible, coach, mentor for me. And he's pushed me a lot.
Well, she's pushed me, to be my best, and that's not love. That's respect. Coming up next. Oh boy. Big decision coming up for a guy I really like, and I hope he doesn't blow it. Joy and I will return after this. Car shopping's confusing, a lot of terms. Dealer price, list price. Here's what's not. Save $3,000 MSRP off TrueCar. TrueCar.com. TrueCar.com. New or used car. Joy Taylor's joining me. All right, here's a story out. I'm just telling you, the stories are coming in fast and furious. Here's the latest story. Stephen A.Smith says the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to offer Paul George a max contract. However, Paul George's wife and parents want him to sign with the Lakers. So he can make a lot more money with the Thunder than he can make with the Lakers, though some of it is overstated because the truth is they can offer him 5 years, Lakers can offer him 4 years, but if the Lakers were happy, he'd still make a bunch of money with them. So a lot of this stuff is overstated. Oh, he can make a fortune here, he cannot make a fortune there. Basically, you're paying him the same amount of money. Oklahoma City just gets one extra guaranteed year to make him money, but Paul George is not going to be out of the league in that 5th year. I tell young people all the time, when I sit down and I talk to broadcasters, a couple times a year I'll sit down. And I don't know, Joy, if you've ever had, the old guy comes into the room and he starts talking to people. And one of the things I always say, don't chase money. Chase good management, chase opportunity, chase better coworkers, chase a better organization. Westbrook, and this is not a shot at him. What I'm about to say has been established. It'd be like saying Rush Limbaugh's conservative. That's not a criticism. He is conservative. It's been established. Russell Westbrook, nothing comes easy with him. Points aren't easy with him. Wins aren't easy with him. Playoff wins aren't easy with him. End-of-game situations aren't easy with him. This is Westbrook's DNA. It's been established. There's no reason to argue anymore. Just like arguing, he's a great talent. No reason to argue. He's an MVP. There's no reason to argue. He's one of the most athletic guys in the league. There's no reason to argue. There's no reason to argue. He is difficult to play with. This is his wiring. This is who he is. It's how he was raised. In fact, he came on the air one time. I don't even know if we have the bite. We do. This is Russell Westbrook. He just doesn't play well with others. Listen to this bite.
When I get on the floor, I got one friend, and that's the basketball. I've been like that since I was a little kid. My dad taught me that when I was younger. Once you get on the floor, you got one friend, and the friend is Spalding.
His best friend's the ball. By the way, lots of people are loners. Loners can be very successful, but loners don't play well with others. We've had Chris Broussard come on this show and say he has the smallest circle of any NBA star. Wife, agent, Westbrook, and a basketball. And the reality is playing with LeBron is like fishing on a lake. It's peaceful. It's relaxing. It's conversational. You can see the land from that boat, the final destination. Playing with LeBron is like fishing on a lake. Playing with Westbrook is that show, The Deadliest Catch. You just hope you're alive by the end of the weekend, and you're in the middle of nowhere, and the seas are rough. It's different. It's not a criticism of Westbrook. It is the reality of Westbrook. It's not a criticism to say something that's been established. We know that he has the smallest circle of anybody in the league that's a star. We know that he's been quoted saying, my best friend's the ball. We know he's been quoted saying, I don't really recruit guys. LeBron loves recruiting people. Steph Curry loves recruiting people. That's their personality. Don't argue about personality. It is established somewhere between 0 and 8 years old. Joy always says she's petty. At some point when Joy was 6, something happened and she was a petty baby at 6. And I talk a lot, and I talked a lot when I was 5 years old. I said goo goo gaga, but I talked it and said it all day. Your personality is established very, very early in life. The gregarious adult was the gregarious, talkative kid, and it's been established. So Paul George, you can make an extra year of income, but realize nothing comes easy with Westbrook. Almost everything comes easier with LeBron James. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
What happened to me, Colin, was I had a younger sister who was born a year after me.
And that's where the pettiness came from.
Yes, and we had to share everything our entire lives. Hello, Grace, I love you. In an Instagram video posted yesterday, Terrell Owens showed off his speed running a 40 in 4.43 and 4.44.
Yes.
He was timed by none other than Julio Jones, who we discussed a lot yesterday. He's been training with Owens this offseason and being very cranky with the Falcons because of his contract. T.O. seems like he's still fixated on playing and proving that he could play.
Yeah.
At age 44, he's talked a lot about it. He told you, he told me he could still run a 4.4. He's in amazing shape, but I don't understand what the point of all of this is other than just really good social media content.
You know what's really funny, Joy? This is the perfect T.O. He's always been an amazing athlete. He showed it yesterday, and he's always been needy, which he showed a week ago by, I'm not going to the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. T.O.'s never changed. Like we talked about a second ago with Westbrook. T.O.'s always been an absurd athlete. We see it again, 44 years old, the fastest 44-year-old in America, and he's always been high maintenance and meaty, and 2 weeks ago or a week ago, he's like, I'm not going to the Hall of Fame. So T.O.'s trying to convince you he's something that we already know he is.
Right.
A great athlete and high maintenance and not a great teammate.
Yeah, I mean, this is your brand. But if Des Bryant can't get signed,
yeah.
what is the difference?
It's a lot of same stuff. To be honest with you, even though there's a 10-year gap in age, a lot of similarities. Des is a great
but I'm saying a 10-year gap. I'm taking Des Bryant over T.O. Like, Des Bryant was just playing last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, T.O. insists that he could still take an NFL hit. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says Zeke has a new sense of awareness. He says he trusts Zeke as much as he trusts himself. He added, though, Elliott still needs a talking to, sometimes daily, to remain on the straight and narrow. Now, just a few weeks ago, some photos on TMZ showed Dak, Prescott, and Zeke on a fishing trip in the Keys. Have you ever been to the Keys?
No, but they're fun.
They're very fun, yes. I love Key West. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I've been to the nightclub where they were... where they showed up.
Yeah.
And, of course, they purchased some provocative water guns.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Zeke. I like to give young guys a lot of chances because I think that young athletes are dealing with all of the pressures and influences and distractions that athletes back in the day dealt with. The only difference is now every single person on the planet has a camera that can record what they do. So there's a different level of pressure, and they're still young men. However, at some point, you have to realize who you are.
Yes.
So, and the responsibility that you have, not only to yourself, but to a lot of other people.
I didn't like the part of the story where they said they have to remind Zeke sometimes on a daily basis. Listen, man, young people make mistakes. If you're in the business of reminding somebody on a daily basis to grow up, they may be a long way from growing up.
Well, I mean, he surely is a long way from growing up, but just disappointing with everything that happened last year that you would think that would be the thing that shook him to the core, but we'll see. And finally, after years of grudge holding, it appears Jerry Jones may be ready to bury the hatchet and induct Jimmy Johnson into the Cowboys Ring of Honor.
Thank you.
Yes, seriously. They parted ways in '94 after back-to-back Super Bowl titles, and they both insist that they have a good relationship. And Jerry even praised Jimmy Johnson at the Hall of Fame induction because Jimmy inducted my brother. He was the presenter at the Hall of Fame. for Jason. This is so overdue.
Good God. It's embarrassing.
Listen, I like petty, but
it is the silliest thing in sports. In my lifetime, there are 3 coaches, maybe 4, that I put in a different level. Bill Walsh, Parcells, Belichick, and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
And by the way, and I still think Tom Coughlin's great, and there's a lot of great coaches. But Walsh, Belichick, Parcells, and Jimmy are the 4 best coaches of my lifetime. Let's move on with it already.
Yeah, and Jimmy belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame also.
Of course. It's absurd. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Okay, we got a lot of stuff to unpack here. We got stories breaking left and right. Mark Stein of the New York Times. We've got our Chris Broussard. Let's bring him on. He's got a pocket square, which means Broussard means business. He only wears the pocket square when you're breaking stuff.
Right?
Okay, so yesterday, I said at the start of the show, the reason Trump uses fake news, and it's effective to some degree, is because there is a lot of fake news out there. Listen, I get all these guys. Kawhi says the other day, I want to be a Laker, and I start reading all these stories. Well, what about this team and this team? What GM's going to rent Kawhi Leonard for a year and give up draft picks? Danny Ainge struggles to give up a late second-round pick? Like he's going to give up Gordon Hayward and a first-round pick for Kawhi Leonard?
Well, here's what it all depends on. With Kawhi, is it Lakers or bust? Or is it Lakers are my first choice? But I like Boston. I like Philly. I like, I like the Clippers.
But I didn't hear
other places he would play? Well, you haven't heard anything from Kawhi. All we heard was the Lakers are his preferred destination. We've heard that about Paul George for forever, and now there's talk that he's going to stay in Oklahoma City. So, that's what it boils down to. How much does Kawhi really want to be a Laker?
Okay, so when the story broke, it said Lakers first and maybe Clippers. Boy, you'd have to go. I got to be honest with you. He doesn't feel like a Boston player. He doesn't to me.
He feels like a Laker player?
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like a Laker player to me. Now, he's a great player wherever he's at.
Okay.
But when you think about the Lakers stars, Magic, Kobe,
but
Shaq.
He'd be the second
they're
guy.
All gregarious.
Well, Jabbar wasn't.
Jabbar was not. But for the most part, I do feel like I think Kawhi would work in Boston. I actually think basketball-wise, Boston or Philly is a great place for him. I just think I just recognize the value of staying in the East. I recognize the value. Whether it is getting to the finals and attempting to win championships, whether it's even making all-star games. And don't be fooled. These things are important to players. They want to make the all-star team. And obviously Kawhi would make it in the West, but I'm just saying,
let me throw this at you.
I think those would be good options.
You're Danny Ainge. So Kawhi is almost nonverbal. He's almost nonverbal. According to a source, which is Uncle Planet, he appears to like the Lakers, your all-time rival. Are you going to risk a handshake with Kawhi Leonard to give up picks and Gordon Hayward? He said he wants the Lakers through his uncle.
You're going to talk to his uncle. You're going to talk to his agent. You're going to, if you start dealing with the Spurs, who would prefer to send him east.
Yeah, I get that.
So they'll grant you permission to talk. Then you're going to talk with Kawhi too. So look, I'm not saying he's not going to be a Laker. I just don't know for a fact if it's Lakers or bust in his mind, or if it's Lakers are number one, but I like some other places too.
Okay, Stephen A.Smith says parents of Paul George, wife of Paul George are pushing him heavy to the Lakers, but OKC can guarantee him that one last year of big income. It should be noted that's way overstated.
Yeah, totally.
Because Lakers and OKC would pay him the exact same for 4 years. He'd never have to, it'd take care of his family forever. OKC can just guarantee one more year at the end. By the way, he could get another year with the Lakers. If it worked out. So when you read the story out, Broussard, I want your sources on this. Mom, wife, they're pushing you right to L.A., but I can get a little more guaranteed money OKC.
I was talking to someone yesterday about this, and there are, Paul George is from this area. So there are a lot of people here who know him.
Yes.
And they insist he's going to be a Laker. He's going to be a Laker.
I was told that 6 weeks ago when the regular season ended. I was told by somebody I trust, yeah, it's a Laker thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody, close to him seems to be saying. Now, again, he's the second guy in Oklahoma City. If he comes here with Kawhi and LeBron.
Very interesting.
He's the third guy.
But by the way, are we sure he doesn't like that? Being the third guy? Let me just throw this out there. I like Paul George a lot. He's not as good as LeBron, and I would say when Kawhi is healthy, he's just a little below Kawhi. Paul has not been a player. Again, he's not wildly verbal. He's not been great in crisis. He's not. He's in playoffs, you're like, ugh. I think Paul comes here and thinks, I get my money, and I don't have to be there. If we lose, it's not all on me. It's still going to be LeBron's team. I think he would be incredibly comfortable on a lot of nights being a second, third option and okay with it.
Certainly second option. Third option is a little different, but that's not bad. Chris Bosh was a third option, and it's going to help get him into the Hall of Fame.
And he won 2 rings.
And he won 2 rings.
$100 million, and he's going to...
Yeah, I think the smart money is on George coming to the Lakers. Let's just play the game, though, that he stays in Oklahoma City.
Right.
Now it really gets interesting because if the Spurs don't trade Kawhi to the Lakers soon, does LeBron come here by himself and just hope that they can pull off a trade for Kawhi, or wait until the summer, come here and then have one season with these young kids and then wait in 2019 and hope they get another free agent? I mean, if Paul George stays in Oklahoma City, it changes everything, potentially. It really does. I think LeBron is coming here, but it would really get interesting.
You said that with a smile, almost like you're rooting for utter chaos for LeBron. Are you one of these I love LeBron but guys?
No,
like Whitlock.
No, I'm just not a guy that's like, I got to see LeBron with the Lakers. I mean, wherever he goes, I'm fine with, but I think it's going to be the Lakers. But I just haven't been pushing the LeBronzo. Like, where is it LeBronzo now, or is it?
First of all, it's not
Bronzo
I was
now.
Not,
it's just the Lakers.
Not pushing it. It was just a moment of brilliance that popped into my head, and we thought we'd go with it. All right, let me just say this: that Daryl Morey went to MIT, Rockets GM, genius. Danny Ainge played, really smart guy, but they're not cool. Magic's cool. Magic walks into a room with R.C. Buford and Daryl Morey. All the players want to hang out with Magic Johnson. They're over in the corner laughing with Magic Johnson. I got to be honest. 1 year ago, you didn't have 3 players lining up to be a Laker. This Magic Johnson thing in L.A., I think it's all on Magic. I think this is Magic Johnson. I went to a Laker game this year, and I saw something, Chris, that was crazy. So I had good, not great seats, 20 rows up with my son watching the game. And I'm about close to half court, maybe. And Magic Johnson comes out of the tunnel. It's incredible. The entire end zone rises to get a peek of him. All the people around me get up. It's Magic Johnson. And I'm like, dude hadn't played in 20 years. He's an old man now. Magic has this magnetic quality, Chris. Yeah. You've been around him before.
Magic is a joy to be around. I mean, really.
He is.
And when you talk about superstars and celebrities on that level, he is about the most personable superstar you could ever meet.
No ego, no airs.
No.
None.
I mean, he obviously has an ego, but when you are with him and around him, it doesn't come off. Like, he could be sitting on this couch and talking with us, and it wouldn't be like, I'm Magic Johnson and you're not.
Right.
And you wouldn't even feel that way. You would just feel like you're talking with a good friend. I mean, really, that's how Magic is. I've seen him with enough people. I've experienced it myself when I worked on the show with him, NBA Countdown. I mean, he is a great guy. So here's the thing. What Magic can also sell, look, LeBron obviously is a business mogul. LeBron has said he wants to be a global icon. Magic is as big as it gets in Los Angeles.
Oh, God,
there are people that'll tell you this is his city, right?
But if you lined up the head of Netflix, Reed Hastings, and Bob Iger and Rupert Murdoch, and I mean the titans of Los Angeles, Steven Spielberg, and Magic walked into the room, they'd be all like, hey, there's Magic.
Yes.
He's just, by the way, if he comes on this show within 24 hours, I will rename the couch the Magic Couch. That's how much I like Magic Johnson.
Well, and you better believe he's telling or will tell LeBron, I can show you, this can be all yours. And Magic also is worth
a lot.
$700 million, something like that. He made about $30 million as a player. Not a ton of money as a player.
Yeah.
He has learned how to, not only make money through business, but utilize his name to make money. And all of that can be attractive to a business mogul.
I just want to do a test here. Joy, I'm going to name the player, and just as a fan, you tell me where you'd love to see him land. Okay. You can say anywhere. LeBron.
Lakers.
Kawhi.
Lakers.
Paul George.
Yeah, Lakers.
Okay.
But I'd be fine if he stayed in OKC.
Okay, and you're from Miami.
I don't feel as highly, I don't think as highly of Paul George as you do as a player.
Okay.
He's a heck of a third option, though.
Yeah, he's a really good
Sure, but the Lakers do have a young core, and hopefully LeBron has learned that while veteran players are nice to have, you need more young, strong players that can last a full season, sprinkled in with some veterans.
Now, I'm not going to ask you that question because you're a journalist, and I don't want to put you in a position where it seems as though you're rooting. But it's nice to know that my new partner here feels the way I do for the bigness of the sport. I love the NBA. I want it to be big. I like Philadelphia being good. I like the Celtics being good. I wish the Knicks weren't an embarrassment. I mean, I like the idea.
I think
big brands, Colin.
I think like if they went to the Lakers, it would be wonderful for the league.
Oh, God.
But I also think if they or one of them went to Philadelphia or Boston, it would be great too. Now, they're not the Lakers just because it's not as they're not as glamorous of cities.
Right.
But they are still in the Eastern Conference. What kind of NBA Finals? The NBA Finals are going to feel like the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
It did this year too.
That's okay.
Yeah.
With me.
No, okay. it'll be great, and we get to go. We're here in LA.
I know.
So we get to go to games.
That means nothing to me as a journalist, but it would be nice and much closer. Chris Broussard, Pocket Square, he means business. Thank you, Chris. We got Mr. Irrelevant and football top of the hour. Baron Davis stops by today. All sorts of stuff. The NBA drafts in a couple of days. Back in a second. It's the Herd. Say goodbye to takeout. Hello to HelloFresh. Healthy ingredients, easy to follow recipes. Ship to your door, limited time. Get $30 off your first box when you go to HelloFresh.com/Colin. Free shipping, HelloFresh.com/Colin. Good stuff. There's actually some good football stuff next hour. Tony Gonzalez also stopping by today. Listen, there's a bunch of stories breaking today, so we're trying to report all of them. This is very fluid as they break. We started our show with the Mark Stein New York Times story. Greg Popovich and the Spurs will negotiate with the Lakers if they have to. It's not their first choice. We predicted this yesterday. It's happening today. Here's another story that came out. Paul George is going to be offered the max deal, said Stephen A.Smith. We believe it's true. We just don't think it's that big of a deal. They're still going to make the same money for the first 4 years as a member of the Thunder, as a member of the Lakers. They can just offer one more guaranteed year, and I think Paul George would get that year eventually down the line. Here is the third story that is breaking today. Chris Paul is telling people that LeBron wants to play in Los Angeles, which is, I think, the worst-kept secret in American sports. Let me just say this. Is that I do believe that Magic Johnson is the reason we're getting very quickly lots of stars and superstars aligning to the Lakers. The Lakers are obviously a massive brand in American sports. But even great brands have bad decades. You got to remember, you go back and look at the Green Bay Packers after Bart Starr and before Brett Favre. Do you remember how irrelevant the Green Bay Packers were? They had one playoff win between Bart Starr and Brett Favre. Go look at all these great brands. 25 years, one playoff win. The New York Yankees, in 11 years, did not make the American League playoffs. Then Joe Torre arrived. The Cowboys were a mess. Jimmy Johnson arrived. Do you realize there was an 11-year period where Alabama, 8 out of 11 years, was unranked? The Pittsburgh Penguins, the current dynasty, were a nothing burger. And then Sidney Crosby arrived. 3 Stanley Cups, 4 Final Four appearances. The Lakers are similarly in a 5-year drought. With all of these great traditional brands, what changes? A transformative figure arrives. Brett Favre, Joe Torre, Jimmy Johnson, Nick Saban, Sidney Crosby, Magic Johnson. That's why I've said this for years. You cannot overpay for a great leader. You could pay Nick Saban $20 million a year. You'll get your money back. Joe Torre, his ability to deal with all those free agents and all those stars and all that press in New York and all those egos, there was no monetary figure for Joe Torre that didn't make sense. It just was going to eat up 90% of baseball managers. Joe Torre had the right DNA, the right demeanor. He was a man's man. There's kind of that tough stepdad quality to Joe Torre. He looks like everybody's badass stepdad. You just don't mess with him. Even when you're a tough kid, you just don't mess with your stepdad. Joe Torre had that. Like, you don't mess with Joe Torre. Nick Saban. You can't overpay for these stars. I know everybody in the world wants pay equality. Man, there are just people in Hollywood, on Wall Street, in sports, you can't overpay. Sidney Crosby changes the temperature of the room. And I've been at the Staples Center when Magic shows up. I've seen Kareem show up. I've seen Worthy show up. I've seen Kobe show up. I've seen everybody show up. Magic shows up, it's different. That guy hasn't played in 2 decades. It just is different, and I think the players can sense it. And Daryl Morey may go to MIT, and R.C. Buford may be as smart as they get, but they don't have the cool factor. You can put Daryl Morey and R.C. Buford and Danny Ainge and Magic in a room. Players are all going to gravitate to Magic Johnson. It is an absolutely real thing. Here's something else. So Tom Brady yesterday and Oprah, worlds collide. And I thought that was a really interesting moment. They talked about the GOAT conversation. G-O-A-T, GOAT conversation. And a few years ago, we just decided Tom Brady was the greatest of all time. He addressed that with Oprah Winfrey. Here it is.
When you're called the greatest quarterback of all time by just about every sports writer, can you allow yourself to internally interpret what that means to be the best quarterback of all time?
I don't like it. I don't like when people say it.
And you don't like that?
No, I don't like it at all.
Why?
Well, I don't feel that way. You know, I'm not attached to that feeling. You know, I don't care whether people think that or not. You know, I want to be the best I can be.
Let me tell you something. It's really interesting. We never talk about greatest of all time. We never talk it in hockey. And we don't talk it in football. We don't talk it in baseball. And by the way, we never talked it in basketball. We never did. My entire life, 4 decades watching this league, nobody ever had a GOAT conversation until LeBron won his 2nd title in Miami. And from that day forward, LeBron's better than MJ, which has always been the greatest compliment to LeBron. Michael Jordan had 6 titles and had been the MVP in each series. LeBron won his 2nd, and the conversation started. We don't do this in baseball. We never did it in the NBA before MJ. We never talked about it. We don't do it in hockey. We don't do it in football. How many segments have I ever done? Brady, Joe Montana, best ever. How about we start with 0? And I've been doing this for a long time talking football. The greatest compliment, Kobe Bryant, after his 5th ring, as great as Kobe is, there was never a GOAT conversation. As great and as dominant as Shaq was, when he won his 4th title in Miami, there was no GOAT conversation. The reason, even with Tom Brady now, many of you say, it's kind of a system guy. Why do you say that? Because your eyes don't lie. He's not the biggest, the fastest, the strongest with the best arm. Marino and Elway had better arms. Russell Wilson, Steve Young, Brett Favre, better athletes. The ultimate testament to LeBron James is though Jordan had 6 titles, MVP in each, by LeBron's second. Your eyes were telling you something. Oh, good God. He is bigger, stronger, faster than anybody I've ever seen. Just the argument is a massive compliment. I spend more time on GOAT now in a week than I did for 30 years in this business. Your eyes don't lie. Some of you think Tom Brady's a system guy because your eyes are telling you Elway was bigger, stronger, and faster. Brett Favre was more talented. So's Aaron Rodgers. Peyton Manning was as good. Your eyes are telling you with LeBron, trust him. We've never seen anything like this in basketball ever. This is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Joy Taylor, now a full-fledged, full-time member of The Herd. It is great to have you. Yesterday, I was retweeting a bunch of stuff with Joy Taylor and cake and stuff, and people went crazy, and they really like you, and I knew they did. I just saw Skip Bayless in the hall, and I was like, in your face. Anyway, it's great to have you.
Thanks, Colin.
I didn't really say that to Skip Bayless.
Did you see the cake?
I had some cake.
Did you? Oh, you ate some?
Yeah, and I had to go to the dentist and pull 7 teeth. It was all sugar, but it was unbelievable.
Did you? Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I have. Why? What happened?
Oh, well, the cake was a picture of me dressed as Larry David.
Oh.
Dressed as Buck Dancer.
Oh, okay.
From Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
It was for Halloween.
Sheet cake. It was great.
It was good.
Not healthy, but great. I got a guest coming on in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a great guest because what he stands for shows you how impossible it is to be a pro athlete in America, how hard it is. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I want to start with this, and this is a real thing. According to Mark Stein, New York Times, not some random blogger making crap up, Mark Stein says Greg Popovich will do business with the Lakers. Doesn't want to, but he will do business with the Lakers if they make the best offer. This is what we've been saying since the news came out Friday that Kawhi Leonard wants to be a Laker, and every other NBA guy said, no way, Celtics, Sixers. No. If an NBA star has a year left in a contract and gives a specific team, you got to do business with him. You got to do business with the Lakers. Because what general manager in the NBA is going to make a bunch of picks and a bunch of players and send them to San Antonio and get Kawhi with no assurance Kawhi is staying? And Mark Stein, quote, they clearly do not want to do business with the Lakers, but if the Lakers could assemble the best deal, San Antonio gets the most out of a trade from the Lakers. Mark Stein, real reporter, they would do the deal. By the way, this is my favorite kind of news. Don't mean to pat myself in the back, but go ahead, John.
Where Colin was right?
John, a little more sugar, please.
Damn, Colin was really right.
A little more, please.
Colin was so right, it's getting annoying.
Okay, there you go. Greg Popovich, we called it. He was a bully. He's been a bully. You don't have to baby athletes. You don't. Maybe some, but you don't have to baby athletes. You can't bully athletes today. They got the internet. They got stronger agents. They have a voice socially, politically. You don't have to baby them. You don't have to coddle them. I don't want to hear, oh, you got to coddle these athletes. No, you don't. But you can't bully them. And coaches and GMs have been bullying athletes too long. It's a new world. They have a voice. They have a following. There's transparency. And Greg Popovich, middle of this season, sent out 2 of his messengers, 2 of his boys, Tony Parker and Mano, and they both questioned Kawhi Leonard's inability to play. And Steven Jackson came on our show. Do you remember what he said?
I wouldn't be surprised if this makes Kawhi want to leave. Because when your teammates going against you in the media like that, not having your back, you know that's coming from up top. Why would you want to be there?
Okay, this is Bill Belichick. You don't have to baby Tom Brady, but you got to give him an explanation why you didn't play Malcolm Butler. You got to give him a heads up. He's part of this operation too. He's your president. You're the CEO. Greg, Can't send out Tony Parker, your messengers. You can't send out Manu Ginobili and rip him. Doesn't work that way. You tried to bully him. You don't have to baby him, but you can't do that. And Kawhi Leonard's had enough and does not want to play anymore with San Antonio. Okay, I want to shift gears to this. There was a survey that I stumbled upon about 10 years ago. May have been 8 years, may have been 12 years. It was roughly a decade ago. I was at the other place. And I've referenced this story multiple times. Joy Taylor's brother was an NFL Hall of Fame player. He is big and he is strong and he was dominant in high school and he was dominant in college and he was dominant in the NFL. But the survey came out and said 75% of men in America, showing you the delusion of men, thought they would have been a pro athlete if not for an injury or a coach that had it out for them. Now,
it's amazing.
Isn't it amazing? Go to Twitter sometime. Look at guys. The delusion of men. Now, Joy, your brother, who is 6'5", 6'4".
He's 6'6". He grew 2 inches in college, actually.
Okay.
He was scrawny and skinny in college.
Okay. And where did he go to college?
Akron.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, he started getting really good and really strong and really dominant. And then he goes to the NFL and he becomes a Hall of Famer. And that's what a pro athlete looks like. I've been in the room with Jason Taylor. He does not look like a car insurance salesman. He doesn't look like any of my friends. And my friends are in shape. He doesn't look like any of them. Pro athletes don't. My next guest is interesting. My next guest threw a no-hitter in the Little League World Series. So he was bringing gas at 11. And then he went to high school, where he compiled 7,000 yards and 70 touchdowns. And then he went to college, where last year he had 114 catches to lead the nation. Little League stud. He didn't just throw a Little League no-hitter. He threw a Little League World Series no-hitter. He wasn't just good. He wasn't just, there he is right there. He wasn't just good in high school. 7,000 yards, or excuse me, 4,000 yards. No, it was 7,000 yards, 70 TDs. He wasn't good in college. Of the 120 Division I football programs, he led the nation in catches. And he was the last guy drafted in the NFL draft. Let's bring him on. Trey Quinn, wide receiver, Washington Redskins. By the way, they call this pick Mr. Irrelevant. And your entire life, you've been incredibly relevant for every team you've played on. Can I ask you this? Is it weird, because you've been this great, that you get this? Now, you did get a Rolex. You do get a free trip to Disney. And you do get some sort of trophy. But the name is not the most complimentary. How does it sit with you?
I think starting off, you're just looking for the opportunity. But if they want to label me as Mr. Irrelevant, I want to make it as relevant as possible. And that's kind of the what I'm stepping forward to is I'm gonna work my tail off, work like I'm the number one pick or I'm the last pick. I just want the opportunity to get out there and make plays. And like you just said, I've been doing it at every level, and I don't expect to stop now.
Now, you could have gone undrafted and had a choice where you went. Now, there's been the argument for years that players in the 7th round, some would rather be undrafted and pick a spot. I actually think you found the perfect spot because you have a veteran quarterback who loves underneath routes and an offensive-minded coach. You also have a great tight end, real running backs. I kind of think I think you're going to make the league. I mean, I think Washington works for you. You were just at an OTA with A.Smith, weren't you?
Right.
How did it go?
It's a good situation. He already has the respect for the locker room, which is, I don't know how to compare it to any other NFL locker rooms, but it was cool walking in the first day and everybody's, treating him like he's the man, and, he's acting like he's the man in charge, which is awesome to see. But it's special to come from college and now you see A.Smith and he's putting the ball right where it needs to be every time. Chris, good spiral, and it's it's kind of that shock at first, but now I'm starting to get used to it, and it's just good to be in the locker room around some good teammates. I got a lot of good receivers to learn from, and Coach Gruden wants to sling it around, so it's a good situation and a perfect little slot for me.
Did you screw up at all with Alex? He's this 10-year veteran. You're this rookie. Did you run a bad route or something?
I think the first route I ran with him, it was against Skandrick.
Orlando Skandrick,
yep,
yeah.
And Yeah, he had a little inside leverage on me. I was trying to get inside on him, but I couldn't get in like Alex wants me to. But he pulled me aside immediately after that. I was like, look, try and get in on the side on that fight, and I'll throw you open. But just a little something like that was the first interaction we had was him, critiquing my route a little bit, which was, I need all the critiquing I can. I'll take all the information in and spit it back out the best I can. But that was our first, play together right there.
So Trey Quinn, Washington, the last guy drafted in the NFL. They call it Mr. Irrelevant. Now, a couple of guys have played. One guy was a kicker and actually had a decent career. Most guys don't end up as a last pick in the draft being significant, but it should be noted half the NFL, half the rosters right now are undrafted players. So if you have the game and you work hard, half this league is guys that weren't drafted. Take me to, because you are, how big are you, Trey?
I'm like 6'5", 220. No, I think I was 5'11" at the combine.
Okay, 5'11". What do you weigh?
About 200.
Okay, there's a lot of guys listening to my show that are 5'11", 200. Now, Joy Taylor's brother, I've been with him. He doesn't look like anybody. Okay, he's 6'6", 2 whatever. You would walk into a room and you wouldn't immediately be, oh my God, there's LeBron, there's Magic.
No, it's happened before already. I'm another front office guy everywhere we go. So
they think you're like a sales guy.
Yeah, I'm just there. I'm there with PR and the media relations. Yeah, I'm right there. If I'm a player, I'm a kicker. So
okay. So you're a dominant little league player, a dominant high school player, dominant college, and in each step, there's that period where you adjust to the new group of players. From 12-year-old football to high school football to college football, is the gap college to pro greater or less than?
As far as going to high school
was it
college?
Harder high school to college or college to the NFL? Which one is more jaw-dropping?
I think it'd be so far, I'd say high school to college because, with the weight room, the addition of like the intensity, you also have classes and all that stuff. But granted, we haven't gotten to pads yet, and I'm looking forward to getting into pads and kind of knocking it around with the big guys. But so far, I'd say high school to college. But I might have a different answer for you come a couple months.
But I think you're not the first person to say that. Is that high school, rural high school team to legitimate Division I program? My high school barely had a weight room, but these days in college football. You went to LSU, SMU, and NFL. LSU got big boy facilities.
Absolutely.
In fact, I would argue half the college teams have better facilities than NFL teams.
I've heard that before. I'd probably agree with you on that.
Yeah. By the way, LSU's got a ton of NFL defensive backs in the league. So you've already played against a ton of NFL guys at LSU.
Right. Yeah. I've got the reps against Jalen Mills with the Eagles. I might get him again in upcoming season. Tre'Davious White, Jalen Collins. All the names out there.
The guy for the Bills?
Tre'Davious White, yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, he's a big-time guy.
Yeah, that's my guy. We had a couple battles back in the boot, so that's my guy right there.
Okay, his name is Trey Quinn. We're rooting for him. I think it's a great story. And just again, no-hitter Little League World Series, 70 touchdowns in high school, most catches in college football, last guy picked. For you, 75% of men, before we introduced him, that think, God, if it wasn't for that cranky high school coach, I'd be a pro. This is the struggle. And by the way, I think in today's NFL, Trey, the slot receiver is the Cole Beasley position, right, which is probably what you're going to play primarily. Right. Every team in the league needs him now. You may have picked the right decade and the right years to play in this league. Do you think this morning you have a shot to make the team?
Absolutely. No, I'm going to go in there and earn it every opportunity I get, and I'm going to try to take full advantage of it. I expect to make plays for the team and be able to make an impact this fall.
Good stuff. Good meeting you, man.
A pleasure.
By the way,
Thanks
Cole Beasley went to SMU as well.
SMU pony up.
Good stuff. Hey, around the corner, Baron Davis will be joining us. If you're going to a game or a concert this summer.
Big
three. Yeah. Big three. Come on.
Big Three basketball returns live to FS1. A new wave of superstars join some of the game's greatest legends in a new season of the Big Three. It all starts Friday at 7:30 Eastern, live on FS1, or stream it all live on the Fox Sports app.
By the way, Joy Taylor, full-fledged member of the Herd. Everybody said when I ripped Lonzo Ball for that diss track thing, Joy, a couple of days ago, everybody was like, whoa, Colin, you don't have any cred. Street cred, Colin. You don't understand young guys. I said, I don't understand diss tracks, but I understand it. And that's a bad look when you're recruiting LeBron James and you're coming off a year when you shot 45% at the free throw line and Lonzo Ball's doing a diss track and a music video. So yesterday, Ice Cube, does he have any credibility? I asked him about the diss track.
That ain't cool. It just ain't.
So if you were Magic, would you move Lonzo? Are you that disappointed?
No, not that disappointed. I mean, it's still...
What would you sit down and tell him? I'm Lonzo, you're Magic. What do you tell me?
No more records. No more dissing in public. You know what I mean? You guys got an issue with each other. Let's speak on it in private. We keeping everything in-house, in the locker room, nothing public.
Perception is reality. You're LeBron James. Multiple suitors trying to attract you. You generally don't like dealing with young players. You chose Kevin Love over Andrew Wiggins. You recruited Ray Allen, Shane Battier, veteran Chris Bosh, D. Wade, J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver. You're not a big fan of young players. And this is what you hear one day from the Lakers, a team you want to go to?
We thumbing through that money, look at y'all playing with your thumbs. Don't know who your daddy is, well your ass is getting some. We both taking shots, the only difference you ain't hitting none.
Sound like something grown-ups do? Is that what D. Wade's doing a couple years ago right before the finals, or Tim Duncan? Listen, man, once you win titles, you can do everything you want and anything you want. But John Wall's first NBA game, Dougie, it doesn't sit well with the big guys in the room. And Lonzo, you're a rookie. You shot 45% from the free throw line. Ain't a good look. And by the way, Magic, the day after we said it, Magic came out, sources came out saying he wasn't happy. It's not about whether I get diss tracks, but I do get business. It is really bad business. Really bad business when you're recruiting LeBron and he doesn't like playing with young, immature players to drop a diss track in the middle of the recruiting process. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, Colin, we just had Trey Quinn on, the last pick in the draft. The first pick in the draft, Baker Mayfield, according to a story in the Cleveland Plain Dealer, isn't performing well enough to compete with Tyrod Taylor for the starting job.
Oh.
But that isn't fazing Baker Mayfield. He continues to say all the right things so far. When he was asked about it, he said that Tyrod has been an unbelievable mentor, which is a perfect situation for him. Here's what he said.
Hearing you say they traded a third-round pick for Tyrod just doesn't make any sense. We got a lot more out of that than anybody else could. The guy that he is for this franchise, for all of our teammates, is unbelievable. And so for me, to be able to watch him and learn from him, it's been great. You know, he sets the bar high, shows up, his work ethic. It's a great situation for me to come into, to have somebody like that. But it's good for me overall.
So the story is he wasn't ready to even challenge for the job?
Here's the thing. I feel like if you draft a quarterback in the first round, you are probably not a very good team, right? So maybe you are on the last year coaching, you're on the hot seat most likely, or you are a new coach. So if you have a situation like the Browns where you've been nothing above abysmal for I don't know, let's call it the last decade to be kind, and you're Hugh Jackson, you want to keep your job, right? So are you going to try and win 6 games with Tyrod Taylor, or are you going to try and develop Baker Mayfield? I don't like the idea that you can draft a quarterback number 1 overall in the draft and he's not quite ready to play. Like, of course he's not quite ready to play. He's a rookie. He's going to get out there and make mistakes. But to me, this is he's Hugh Jackson trying to keep his job. Let's win a couple games, appease the fans, let Baker Mayfield develop. Not that Tyrod is somebody bad to sit behind. Tyrod is a solid quarterback who's going to win you some games. But are you trying to win some games, or are you trying to become better as a franchise?
Well, this is absolutely true. Hugh Jackson may not get another head coaching job. This is it. And so Hugh Jackson has to win 6 to 7 games this year for the front office, the owner, to go, he's our guy. Well, how are you going to do that? You're going to do that. You can't go. Let's say Baker is surprisingly good. if you're 2-14, which in that division is about what Baker can get you, you're fired. So this is the dysfunction of Cleveland, is that Hugh Jackson wants to win games. Now, I do believe Tyrod Taylor right now is better, but this is going to be the struggle all year because the most popular guy on any football team is the backup quarterback. When Tyrod wins, nobody will chant Baker.
Yep.
If Tyrod loses a game, nobody will chant Baker. But if the Browns lose 2 straight games at any point in this season, you're going to hear chants for Baker. And they're going to lose 2 games in a row at some point in the first half of this season.
And when LeBron leaves,
this is the best.
Forget it.
It's the biggest job in town.
I'm fine with it. And I do believe that Tyrod is better right now than Baker, but just it's about keeping your job. It's not really about letting Baker develop. Sticking with rookie quarterbacks, Ravens rookie quarterback Lamar Jackson has been turning heads at OTAs and minicamp, and one person who says he's been nurturing and mentoring him is RG3. So he did an interview with SI.com, and RG3 said, "I'm trying to help nurture him as much as I possibly can so that when he flies away, he is ready to fly away. Because when you watch it fly away, at that point, it's up to that bird. I try to take that and look at it in a positive way to try and help Lamar navigate a lot of the things that I had to navigate on my own." I don't know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, not exactly.
I do think that if RG3 is giving him some tips for how to not become a disaster after your rookie year, then that's helpful. But
RG3 actually had a nice rookie year. It was more ego and vanity with him.
He had a great rookie year.
Yeah.
But, then he decided that he was going to be a pocket quarterback and change the way that he plays football entirely, and he couldn't stay healthy because he couldn't figure out how to slide.
I actually think RG3 at this stage, rookie year, was better than Lamar Jackson. But I think Lamar appears to be a little more coachable and a little more humble, which I think goes a long way in the NFL.
Yeah, they definitely have 2 different personalities, although they keep getting compared to each other. And finally, some very unflattering footage of Cam Newton came out yesterday after some very young kids were teasing him. In the video, it's unclear what was said to Cam exactly, but he did look like he didn't like it, and he got in the kid's face. So here, let's take a look at this.
Yeah. I'm not playing off. What? Oh, no. What happened to the Super Bowl?
Okay, so do you that's such a bad look. Do you buy into the idea that life imitates art, though?
I think the fact that Cam Newton was even marginally bothered by 9-year-olds says a lot about Cam Newton.
Well, a certain commercial foretold of this happening. I don't know if you remember this. Do we have this footage?
Yes, I do.
Hey, Cam, thanks a lot for coming to my school today.
No problem, Nate.
I promise to exercise and eat right.
Don't forget 60 minutes of play a day, right?
And I'll grow up to be big and strong like you.
Absolutely.
And play in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
And be drafted number 1.
Maybe.
Become the starting quarterback of the Panthers.
Okay.
You can be my backup.
Excuse me?
And make Panthers fans forget about you. And become your mom's favorite player.
Whoa.
I'm just loosening my arm.
It's just jokes, Cam.
No, I'm surprised he would be bothered by this.
It's not surprising that he would be bothered. Not to me.
Are you a Cam fan?
I like Cam. I root for Cam. I think that at this point we know who Cam is.
Thank you. It's been established.
So just we should stop expecting things from people when we know who they are. If you pleasantly surprise us, great. But this isn't surprising coming from Cam. It's just such a bad look. Like it's kids talking. You're the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Like, who cares? Gotta let it go.
Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Okay, so this is the funniest thing I have heard in sports in quite some time. Let me get prepared for this. It's very funny. Enes Kanter plays for the New York Knicks. Enes Kanter said, quote, "We have a good chance to land LeBron James." That is funny. Enes Kanter said, "I'm working on it. I think just because it's New York, if he wins here, he's the greatest of all time, no question. He is the GOAT. I think we have a really, really good chance to get LeBron James." In 15 years of LeBron's career, the Knicks have made the playoffs in the East one time. New York's an amazing city. LeBron has even said, and I'll read you this quote, if I could have 82 regular season games in the Garden, I would, because it's the mecca of basketball. But unfortunately, bad organizations are generally bad because the owner or the management is lousy. And James Dolan owns the Knicks, and he is the volcano of the NBA, ruining an otherwise beautiful and desirable destination. Nobody wants to play in New York, and it is an absolute shame because you know what? It is an incredible basketball city. Rucker Park, high school, AAU, St. John's, there is incredible history there. But that otherwise incredibly desirable location is ruined by Dolan the volcano. Nobody wants to be part of it. Nobody's interested whatsoever. And it's a bummer. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James have all said, it's my favorite road trip in the league. Yet Kevin Durant wouldn't take a meeting. He wouldn't take a meeting. And he met with some teams. Steve Kerr, Chris Bosh, LeBron, Chris Paul, LaMarcus Aldridge. It is America's, if it's the best way I can explain it, is the New York Knicks net loss on what they could be and what they are is the worst in American sports. LeBron wouldn't even consider New York, which has, here's what's amazing about New York, and people forget, people think New York's a baseball city. But when the Yankees weren't good, Yankee Stadium was empty. When the Mets struggle, nobody goes to the Mets games. The Knicks have been irrelevant for 2 decades. You can't get a ticket to the New York Knicks. By the way, the Jets will have empty seats. They go into a 6-game tailspin, empty seats all over the third deck. The Giants will have empty seats. The Mets this year, empty seats. The Yankees in the 80s, nobody at the ballpark. The Knicks have been awful for 2 decades. You can't get a ticket to a Knicks game. It is not a baseball city. And it's a basketball city. Many of the great writers who have ever covered this game. The playgrounds are the best in the country. There's nothing like Rucker Park anywhere else. It is remarkable. In the entire 15 years of LeBron James, they've made the playoff once. By the way, they don't even treat their legends well. I mean, go ask Charles Oakley. They don't even treat their legends well. It is really an incredible shame. It is a remarkable basketball city. And when I lived back east, everybody told me, oh, it's a great baseball town. It's easy when the Yankees have 27, 28 world championships and all the biggest stars in the sport. I mean, is Oklahoma City a great basketball town? Well, they've had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, Kevin Durant. Is it a great basketball city? I doubt it. But when you're great always, it's easy to fill arenas. You know, for years and years and years, you know, people have said, well, you know, this city's great this and this city's great that. I'll tell you when you're great, when you can be abysmal for 2 decades and you still can't get a ticket. The minute the Florida Marlins weren't good, nobody goes to the games. When they were good, very few people went to the games. Like New York, bad, forever, can't get seats. LeBron won't sniff them. Kevin Durant wouldn't give him a meeting. Steve Kerr said no thanks. And they don't even treat their legends well. We love having him on the show. We don't often get him on the show, but Baron Davis, all-star, interesting cat, is joining us coming up next. Car shopping's confusing. A lot of terms. Dealer price, list price, invoice. Here's what's not. Saving $3,000 off MSRP. New or used. Go to TrueCar.com. He was an all-star, played 13 seasons. His Big Three team is one of the favorites to win it. It debuts Friday again this year. All games live on FS1. We bring in our friend, the all-star, Baron Davis in the herd, who, for the record, went to Santa Monica, high school in Santa Monica, college ball at UCLA. You grew up a Laker fan, right?
Yes, sir.
That was your team?
Yes, sir.
And yet, you end up playing for the Clippers, even when you were...
Lord work in mysterious ways, don't he?
Even when you were in the association and you were in Staples.
Yeah.
And you were a Clipper, but your heart was, there was still a little Laker love?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was all Laker love. Wanted to sneak in the locker room and put on a Laker jersey. Damn, like what they got over there? What they drink?
I understand it.
I mean,
you like what
Lakers,
you like.
Man. It's the Lakers. It's the Lakers,
So
you know?
when I hear Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, how do basketball players in the league, and I'm talking not just L.A. guys, but Barron, there's always been this gravitational pull to the Lakers, even among players. It's just, is it cool? What is it?
Championships. The Lakers win championships. So, there's only a few organizations that are really going to, put themselves forward. Golden State in this new era being one of the newer teams. But, the old school, the classic teams are always going to put themselves in a position to win championships. So even though the Lakers are down right now, they have the best opportunity, right? Because that's all they know. So you want to go to a team that is rooted and based in winning championships.
So the Clippers had talent when you were there, but they had lost for so long. Was that an obstacle, just psychologically?
I would say we got talent when we drafted Blake and DeAndre.
Right.
Up until then, we didn't really have any talent, and it's a huge difference, right? It's a huge difference when the owner is a loser and has a losing mentality and could care less, right? And treats the product like it's nothing to be respected. Then you don't even know what winning feels like, tastes like. Because everything is kind of bitter,
Yeah, the Clippers had a history before the current regime of being cheap. Like the Lakers did things like...
Yeah, when you look at, Dr. Buss, you don't even, I think it's disrespectful to even, mention a Dr. Buss, in the same category with, a Donald Sterling when it comes to basketball and ownership and, just the way you treat an organization or you build a brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Clippers brand was built by default. I think Steve Ballmer has come in and, really tried to uplift the ghost and the spirit and the negativity as well as Doc Rivers. And they've done a good job of bringing, the Clippers into this modern era, right, as a team that, could potentially be there and have a chance to get into the finals. But, all in all, Dr. Buss was about winning. He was winning. He was about the city. He was about the community, like the Lakers. If you grew up in L.A., you are a Laker. You're a Laker, you're a Dodger, you're a Raider or a Ram. That's it.
Yeah. When you LeBron has surprised us with his moves. I didn't know he was going to Miami. I didn't know he was going back to Cleveland. Like, he surprises us. This is the first time where we're getting these little leaks that he could be going to L.A. What are your people telling you? What are your buddies? What do they think?
I mean, everybody having the same debate. I think, with LeBron, everybody's going to play the guessing game until we figure out what he's going to do. He has the opportunity to stay in Cleveland and, bring in the right people. When you look at what they have and what and the guys who are going to be free agents and what they can maneuver with their pick. And they could probably get some guys in Cleveland, or he could leave. There's rumors everywhere. Houston, L.A. Now today we hear New York Knicks. Philly is one. When you're talking about the best player in the game, I think there's every team, right? If I'm the Brooklyn Nets or the Phoenix Suns, you best believe I'm about to put out a press release saying LeBron is coming here. Right? Because it's the best player in the world.
Now, Kawhi Leonard's an interesting case study. I'm a big believer that very rarely does a pro athlete have leverage. And Kawhi Leonard now does, and he seized it. He said Friday, somebody in his camp put the news out, "Nah, I want to be a Laker." Well, it kind of traps a team. And I'm actually for this. I'm nothing against San Antonio, but Aaron Rodgers is trapped, and he's the best football player on the planet.
Right.
Is that when an NBA player does get that little tiny window,
you got to do it.
You got to do it, right?
Yeah, you have to do it, because if you don't take advantage or seize the moment and have control of your fate, then you're going to look up and the season's going to start and you're going to get traded somewhere you don't want to be.
Yeah.
So,
did you ever get traded somewhere you literally didn't, Barron, want to be?
Yeah, everywhere I got traded. I didn't want to be.
Really?
When I got traded to Golden State, I didn't want to go to Golden State, but at that time it was just like, I'll go anywhere. I just wanted to get out of New Orleans. And then I can't remember. I got traded with the Clippers, I think. Yeah. I didn't want to get. Of course, I didn't want to get traded to Cleveland, but I felt like, it was some other other things with that. Because they gave away the number 1 pick that year, and it was just like, why would you do that?
Right.
So it was more so like vindictive. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to get traded at all.
So what Kawhi is basically saying, and I totally back him on this, is, man, this may be the last time in my life. Look, I'm a sportscaster. I've been able to largely dictate everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
And I can work until I'm 90. My window of employment's 50 years. A player's got 13 years, 12 years, and 1 year you may get leverage. So when fans balk at players doing this, a player's entire career, he may get a month to 2 that he has leverage. Use the hell out of it. And I love what Kawhi did.
Yeah, you just got to respect it. That man knows where he wants to be, where he wants to spend his future. People can say whatever they want to say, but you don't know how he feels when he plays for the San Antonio Spurs. Or if he feels that, you know what, my time is done, I'm ready to move on and become, the Kawhi Leonard that's not defined by San Antonio and the San Antonio system. So I don't knock Kawhi at all. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to be a game changer, whoever he goes to. It'd be great if he went to the Lakers, so you can see the Lakers dynasty start to rebuild, and he's the perfect pillar and the anchor that anybody in the league, any and everybody in the league, when you say Kawhi Leonard, outside of LeBron James, they're going to want to play with him.
Baron Davis joining us, his Big 3 team. Who's on your team? It's Drew Gooden,
DeMar Johnson, Jason Maxey.
Yeah, you have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
So Lonzo Ball early last week, dropped a diss track. And I said on the air, I ain't going to play well. Magic's not going to like that stuff because you just shot 45% in free throws. You were hurt all year, and you're trying to recruit LeBron, and now you're doing diss track stuff. And LeBron don't like playing with kids. If you were running the Lakers and LeBron came here, would you move off Lonzo?
No. No. Lonzo is a good player. And I think Lonzo is the type of player that a player like LeBron would love to play with. So
why?
Because he passed the ball. He has great instincts. He's a really good player. He's efficient, right? And the things that he's not, the things that he's inefficient in, he makes up. So they say he's not a great shooter, but he will make shots. I just trust the kid, and I think that he's going to be a heady point guard. And with somebody like a LeBron James, imagine him getting the outlet, kicking it up to LeBron, and LeBron not having to basically make all the plays. You got a young point guard who's athletic, who can make plays, who obviously make his teammates better. There are some distractions, but I think that when you get somebody like a LeBron and Kawhi Leonard, then the stakes are higher, and everybody has to get a little bit more serious.
We got about a minute and a half left. You're Paul George. You can go to OKC and get one more guaranteed year of income, or go to L.A. where your mom wants you to go and your wife wants you to go. You get one less year of guaranteed money, but it is L.A. Where would you go?
It's tough. Really depend on what he want to do. I think he has a good situation in OKC. Him and Westbrook make a great 1-2 combo.
Westbrook's hard, man.
And I think for the first year, they actually did a really good job of playing off each other 1-2. And, if that develops, that could be something very scary with the right pieces around those two. And then you look at, L.A. Obviously, L.A. is super attractive, very attractive. And, Paul George being from here, it would be great for him. It'd be great to see him in a Laker jersey.
By the way, how much power would a mom and a wife have? If you were on the fence on something, wife, mom are, Baron, we want you to go here. How much say do they have? 30 seconds. How much say?
It's your family. So, when you're making decisions, you just don't make decisions for yourself. You make decisions for your family, too. And you allow your family to weigh in, and you honor their opinion. And so a lot of the things that they may say to you are not the things that you're thinking about from a basketball perspective, but more from a life and a living perspective. So, moms, wife, all that, kids, all that way into the factor. And I think they have a lot of say-so because that's where your happiness is going to lie outside of this game, whether you get injured, whether you score 20 a game or 13 or not have a great year or a bad year. It's having that family situation that is going to be comfortable and that they want to be there. That's going to help you.
Baron Davis, third hour coming up. Thanks, dude. Big three. It's the Herd. Hour number 3 live. This is the Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, in Los Angeles, again, live hour number 3, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Joy Taylor, full-timer, all-in, team member of the Herd. I'll tell you, it is interesting. Tony Gonzalez in 10 minutes. It is interesting. Fans get really upset when players, they perceive it as not honoring their contract. Kawhi Leonard's honoring his contract. He just, for the first time in his career and perhaps the last, he has a little leverage and he wants to use it, right? That's what we're all trying to do here. The NBA draft, by the way, we'll have a draft expert in 30 minutes, is coming up Thursday. We'll talk about that. But the biggest news, this from Mark Stein of the New York Times. This is a big deal. The camp of San Antonio is talking. Says Mark Stein, the Spurs clearly do not want to do business with the Lakers, but if the Lakers could assemble the best deal, if the Lakers could use their assets to bring in a third team and San Antonio gets the most out of a trade from the Lakers, they would do it. Duh. Danny Ainge won't give up second-round draft picks. He's going to give up Gordon, Hayward, and Kyrie Irving and a number 1 pick to get Kawhi Leonard? Forget it. There's 3 things happening here with this Kawhi Leonard story. Number 1, Kawhi Leonard and his uncle are showing every player in this league how to get it done. If you are a great player and you are unhappy and you have just 1 year left on your contract, you name a specific team you want to play for, and even the all-powerful Greg Popovich has to do business with him. No general manager in this league, it's career suicide. You can't give up assets for Kawhi Leonard to rent him for a year. So number 1, Kawhi and his uncle are very, very savvy here. If you're a star, you got a year left, name a specific team. Kyrie Irving got lucky. He said, here's 7 teams I'll go to. He got lucky. He ended up in Boston. He never mentioned Boston. He could have ended up in Orlando. NBA stars have the ability, because of their collective bargaining agreement, to occasionally have leverage. Use it when you can. In the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, best player, can't. Trapped. That's their CBA. Their lawyers aren't as good. But in the NBA, if you're a star, you get these little windows. Kevin Durant had one. Paul George had one. Chris Paul had one. Kawhi's got one. LeBron's had a couple. Use leverage when you can in life. Tip of the cap to the uncle and Kawhi Leonard. Number 2, this Magic Johnson hire, it seems to be working. I mean, the Lakers, they pitched LaMarcus Aldridge twice. Nah, not interested. They begged Dwight Howard to come here. No, I'm not going to stay. I'm not interested. And now, with Magic, we got some momentum here. We got some inertia here. We got Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Paul George, all appear to want to come here. And they're all really, really good. They're all really, really good. All 3 will be Hall of Famers if they continue playing at the level they're playing at. We know LeBron is, but Kawhi and Paul George are going to be great two-way players, all-time guys. Magic Johnson didn't have a lot of experience being a general manager. But you know what he has? The name Magic. He's a legend. And that sells to young, impressionable stars who want to build mega careers in and out of basketball. This Magic Johnson hire, forget the fact they aced the draft last year. They may trade all those guys to get good players. Magic Johnson is crushing it. He is the reason all these guys, after 5 years of dysfunction, they are all lining up for the Lakers. According to sources, Paul George rumors, Lakers aren't sure that they're going to get Paul George. Oklahoma City's going to sign him or at least offer a max deal. This is sort of muddying the waters here a little bit. So Paul George can make $175 million in 5 years in OKC. He can make about $130 in 4 years with the Lakers. Now you can tweak those a little bit, sign and trade it. But ask yourself, if you get LeBron and you get Kawhi Leonard, isn't Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, better and younger than Paul George? I think he is. And I like Paul George. But when he's healthy, I like Kawhi a little bit more, and he's younger, and he's a better defender. So 3 things are happening. Kawhi Leonard's giving you the map on how to do it. Number 2, the Magic hire, it's working out. He's the reason all these guys are lining up. And number 3, you start looking at the Lakers. If they get LeBron and Kawhi, and they've got Kuzma and Brandon Ingram and Paul George, that's a lot of forwards. I'm not sure if the Paul George thing will work out. Bill Plaschke, LA Times, on our show the other day, I asked him, came down to either. Wouldn't you take Kawhi Leonard? If you gave me a choice of Kawhi and Paul, and I like Paul, I think I'd take Kawhi. Would you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I would. And I think Kawhi can be, Kawhi's been a Finals MVP. Paul George seems to disappear sometimes and be like, I can't get that game 6 out of my mind in the playoffs this year. So yes, and I think LeBron maybe wouldn't even need Paul George in this case. In this case, perhaps even knowing Kawhi's there, LeBron wouldn't. PG can stay in Oklahoma City, which some people say he might do, and LeBron would come anyway.
Good stuff for the Lakers. These are really, really good problems to have. Let me shift gears to this. I've often said Oprah, out of every broadcaster in America, is the one broadcaster, obviously at a much smaller level, that I've tried to kind of watch and monitor how she did her business. Oprah, to me, is sort of my idol in this business. How she now owns a network, I never will. But she's kind of been the guiding light, how she's done it, built her brand. And I also like Tom Brady. And when they converged last week, it was like a Mardi Gras for me. And this was the interesting question, and this was the interesting answer.
Is there something going on with you and Belichick?
No, I love him. Mm-hmm. I love that he's an incredible, coach, mentor for me. And he's pushed me in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And like everything, we don't agree on absolutely everything, but that's relationships.
If your wife asked you, do you love me? And your answer was this, well, I love you. And we don't always agree on stuff. And that pause, that's called a divorce. And it's going to happen in about 6 weeks. Okay, what Tom talked about there was not love. What Tom talked about is respect. Love is irrelevant in sports when you're dealing with legends. Respect is everything. Because all legends in sports, coaches too, are selfish. Kobe's selfish. MJ's selfish. LeBron's selfish. Durant's selfish. They're all selfish. Even the good guy, Steph Curry. You don't get that good unless you're selfish. Give up friends. Give up girlfriends. Give up family stuff. Saban's selfish. Belichick's selfish. Peyton Manning's selfish. Favre's selfish. Pete Carroll's selfish. They're all selfish. And what selfish people who are legends demand is not love. What they demand is, can you help me? And if a legend keeps you around, it's not because they love you. It's because they feel you can help them. And Tom Brady knows Belichick helps him. And Belichick knows Tom Brady helps him. LeBron has dumped friends. D. Wade didn't even give him a heads up. Hey, LeBron, want to go to practice? Yeah, I'm in Cleveland. I'm no longer in Miami. LeBron has dumped friends. You know who LeBron never dumps? People that are still in their prime. They may dump him. He doesn't dump them. When you're talking about all-time legends, this goes from owners, this goes Elon Musk to Mark Zuckerberg to Bill Gates to Tom Brady to LeBron. Legends are selfish. It ain't about love. They'll dump you in a second if they love you. They will never dump you if they respect you. And respect starts with, can you help me? With GNC Auto Deliver and Save, don't worry about missing a daily dose of your favorite products. Visit gnc.com or a store near you to learn more. Yeah, we get so caught up. I did think the Oprah and Brady interview was really interesting. And my favorite moment, Joy, is when he talked about love, he paused. And that's why it led me to believe Brady's not saying he loves Belichick. What he's saying is, I respect Belichick. And to me, love has always been wildly overplayed in sports. It just doesn't matter. Especially when alpha males are in their prime, they want to win games. And some of these guys, these Kobe's and these Aaron Rodgers, listen, they're not bad guys, but in that little tunnel, they got 5, 6, 7 years to make it rain. And they're going to do, friendships aside, whatever it takes to make it rain. And when Oprah asked Brady about his relationship with Bill, just play the first 6 to 7 seconds of it and listen to what Brady's reaction is. First 6, 7 seconds.
Is there something going on with you and Belichick?
No, I love him.
Well, kind of, sort of. Again, if your wife asked if you loved her and that was the answer, she'd file divorce papers. He played 17 seasons in the National Football League. He was a 14-time Pro Bowler. Tony Gonzalez, get out here. Right. By the way, Tony, new person on the show, Joy Taylor.
Come on, look at you, looking good.
You know Joy.
I do know Joy.
Joy to the world. She's very popular.
Joy and pain.
We gave her a cake yesterday, and I put her on the internet, and people just love Joy.
Uh-huh. Why wouldn't they? What's not to love? Look at her. She's great.
You know Jason Taylor.
I did. I played. What do you mean? Do I know Jason Taylor? I played against him a lot.
A lot. Good dude.
Yeah, good guy. Good dancer.
What?
Isn't he a good dancer?
He worked very hard at becoming a good dancer. Yes, yeah. Jason was on Dancing with the Stars forever ago.
Oh, okay.
He lost to Chrissy Yamaguchi, which is it's a little unfair. She dances on ice.
So yesterday, Oprah asked Brady about Belichick, and he just clunked it. Why? Kind of, sort of, love him. And I was just thinking, that ain't love. Bottom line, they know they're good for each other, right?
Doesn't matter, right? Do we have to love each other and win Super Bowls? There's no law, no rule about that. I mean, you clearly, obviously, something's going on in New England right now. As you look at it seems like it's starting to implode with all the stuff that happened with the Super Bowl, with Butler, with the people coming out saying it's no fun, with Coach Bay. I mean, all this stuff going back and forth, and you knew it would come to this. Everything's got to end sooner or later. It's just. Even after all this that's going on, I still say they're going to be in the AFC Championship game next year. They're still going to be a good football team. But I think, Tom, that definitely these are signs that he's not going to be around there too much longer. When I say I think a year or two, and it's over. He's going to retire, and Belichick probably retire at the same time.
Did you ever, and I mean this not in a weird way, did you ever absolutely love a coach?
Yeah.
You found one?
Yeah. Dick Vermeil. Loved him. And I love my personal coaches. Nothing against the coaches that I've had. I love pretty much a lot of them. I love them all, honestly. But what do you mean love?
Vermeil,
what do you mean by
said
that?
Vermeil, so it
Yes.
meant more. What did Dick do to touch you emotionally? So Dick must have done something, so it was deeper than most coach-player relationships.
Yeah, well, he invited you to his house and broke bread with you, had dinner. Everybody, too. It wasn't just Tony Gonzalez or Priest Holmes or the stars on the team. It was to the practice squad guy and Carol, his wife. And I still see Coach when he comes in town. We have dinner. He sends me bottles of his wine. Plug his wine. Good stuff. He's got a new what do you call those guys that make the wine? Winemakers.
Winemakers.
Sommelier? Not a sommelier.
Sommelier's got a restaurant. He's the guy that he knows wine, but the winemakers.
Yeah. So anyway, I got a good relationship with him, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, a coach-player relationship, it absolutely does not matter. You don't have to like the GM. You don't have to like the president. You don't have to like the players you play with. It doesn't matter.
Did you take me to your 5 best years? What were your 5 best years? Stat-wise.
Whatever. My 5th year. put it this way. When my best year, the most catches I ever had was 102 catches in one season. And the offense, I didn't like the offense. The coordinator, I respected him as a man, but I did not like that I didn't like what he was calling. I didn't like anything about it. So, but it was also the most catches I've ever had in one season.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Is that this whole thing is, bottom line, if a player is productive, you're just loyal to the productivity.
Yeah.
Let's say it's just like in Hollywood. You're doing acting now. Listen, man, if the script's good, you'll take a great script because there's so few of them. You can live with a producer that drives you crazy. You may get as an actor, unless you're Tom Hanks, 2 great scripts in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Just be loyal to the script.
Yeah.
Enjoy have you ever had a boss you didn't like?
Yes.
Were you
not here at FS1?
But my point is, there were people that drove me crazy, but I've never aligned myself with you. I guess what I'm basically saying is Brady and Belichick don't need to be tight.
No.
They've been tight for a lot of the years. They're not tight anymore.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
By the way, when there's a couple things going on in the NFL that are interesting. So Julio Jones, you played with Julio?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, are you shocked that he's working out with T.O. and now holding out? Doesn't this go against his brand? It's so not Julio Jones.
It is not, and that's why everybody out there, I would say, from what I know of Julio, I played 4 years with him, I believe. He is not going. Don't worry about him getting the T.O. Shenanigans, anything like that, rubbing off on on my man Julio. Julio is a great guy on and off the field. I think he's just working out with a guy who's a phenom. I think it's more T.O. getting something out of this than it is Julio getting out of something out of these guys working out. They're very similar in the body type, and I always say, I just talking out in the hallway, that T.O. is Julio Jones is T.O. with a great attitude. With a guy who is a team-first guy who's going to show up every day. And because T.O. works his butt off. He's a phenom. But look at that, 4'4".
But you and T.O. are different human beings. You're more Julio.
Yeah.
T.O. would drive you crazy as a teammate.
I don't think I would not want to play with someone like that. On Sundays, you go get it, T.O., go get that ball. But during the week, I don't know how much fun that would be. And you saw it. I mean, I never played with him, so I don't know for sure. But from what you hear, the rumors, and you don't bounce around the league like that. And if you have a great attitude, you're not going to just bounce around like that. People want to keep you.
People want to, by the way, Martellus Bennett, who I love as a guy, he bounced around the league because he was a little flaky.
Yeah.
T.O. bounced around the league, a little flaky. Doesn't mean they're bad guys. They're just not always great teammates.
Yeah.
There's too much stuff beyond football. So Cam Newton was at his camp. Now, Joey, this is like Cam Newton's camp, right? And Cam Newton snaps at like 9-year-old, 10-year-old kids.
No, he didn't. Did he really?
Yeah, can we show it? We have here's the sound. Show Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah. I'm not playing off. With the what? Oh, no. What happened to the Super Bowl?
Because they were teasing him. They were teasing him. What do you make of that?
That's funny. Come on. You know what? I've been there, too. I've had camps. And you have little kids that come out there and are disrespectful.
Really?
All the time. I mean, you whatever. Kids being kids, making fun of you. And I think he's kind of playing, and he got kind of serious. I've seen guys at my camp, players that have come and coached, while they're giving a speech, the kids over there talking, And you've been in a classroom, Mrs. When you were 4th grade, you sound like a chatterbox. This is what you do, do. You never got yelled at by your teacher?
Mrs. Blum, yeah.
Yeah, what did she say to you?
I had a huge crush on her, so I didn't hear it. I was like Charlie Brown's teacher. I was just staring at Mrs. Blum. Wah, 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 wah. But I talked too much.
She yells at you.
Yeah, she did.
That's all he did. That's what I would say. I would say he's yelling at, it's like a teacher. He's at a camp. This kid is coming to his camp. He's probably out there giving, away his time. I don't know if it was probably free. I don't know what it is. And the kid starts popping off. And Cam said, hey, be quiet. Be respectful. You're here to learn, yada, yada. I've seen players do that to some of the kids.
Doesn't bother you at all?
Of course it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
But by the way, we have phones now.
Uh-huh.
That never used to show up on guys' shows. That wasn't on a show 10 years ago when they did sports talk radio. You wouldn't get that piece of video.
No.
This is what phone. When I go out now, when I go to a restaurant, first thing I look for is phones.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay. If I have a cocktail at the bar, I'm looking around at phones because I don't want my bosses to think I'm a lush. You do the same thing?
I do. I'll tell you, when I first got into the league, back when there was no cell phones you couldn't take pictures, I remember going out with a couple guys on the team, and it was during camp, so we needed to let off some steam. You only get one day off pretty much for the whole camp. And so when you do go out, that's why a lot of trouble happens that first night off. You see guys getting in big trouble, at least you used to. These guys were up on top of the bar, shirts off, going crazy, doing crazy stuff. And you could never do that now, obviously, because a camera phone would be right out. And so I think in this day and age, as an athlete, any pro athlete, anybody, you, me, if we go places, of course we have to. It's like the Bourne Identity. You're looking at all the exits, you're looking at all the signs that could potentially be trouble for you. And Cam needs to know that. But like that right there, I think he got in the kid's face. Maybe that kid deserved it. That kid could be a little punk. You never know.
Hey, I like that.
What if that kid's talking trash to Cam Newton? He's like, you're at my camp and you're going to talk to me disrespectfully?
You know what?
I'm going to show you. You want to be a man? I'm going to show you how to be a man.
You've changed my mind.
They were like middle school.
I got
4 kids. And one of them, my little River, I love him to death. He's 8 years old. He's a pop-offer. He's an overly confident little dude. And if he was at somebody's camp and he was talking trash and the guy, he's at UCLA camp right now, and if one of the camp guys are there and he says, "Hey, be quiet," yada yada yada, and he's not listening, I would hope he would snap out. I would be like, put him in his place. That's just me, I can do what I want. I'm his dad, but I would definitely say, be respectful. And this is what happens if you poke the bear. Now, don't touch him. Don't hit my kid.
No.
Then we got a problem. But you can definitely reprimand my kid the right way.
You know what? You have changed my mind on this. Literally, Tony Gonzalez did what is very difficult. You changed my mind. Cam, yell even louder at the next kid. Honestly, you really changed my mind on this.
Well.
You know what? Kids need to be yelled at.
Yes.
A lot. I'm going to go home and do some yelling today. You really loosened me up as a parent. I appreciate that. Tony Gonzalez. By the way, before the end of the show, NBA draft is Thursday. You're not going to get any better information than you're going to get with us in about 10 minutes. Thanks, Tony.
Referee waves him on here as the ball gets played back by Krakowiak, and then it's complete mayhem as Niang runs on the field and just continues running to get on the end of this one.
I've never seen that all the games that I've done where a player came on just like that and became a part of it on a breakaway.
World Cup action continues tomorrow on Fox and FS1. It all kicks off with Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal taking on Morocco at 7 Eastern on FS1. Then Uruguay battles Saudi Arabia at 10 Eastern on Fox, followed by Iran facing Spain at 1. The World Cup tomorrow on Fox and FS1, or stream it all live on the Fox Sports app.
Group play has been absolutely unbelievable. My team, England, me mates in England scored in stoppage time to beat Tunisia. It was crazy, and England outplayed them for a massive percentage of the play, just like Germany outplayed Mexico for a big chunk. That's one of the great things about soccer and World Cup soccer. You can be an underdog and outplayed, and the tension and drama. Germany had 6 shots on goal in about a 7-minute period, and they couldn't get any of them in. England pulled it off yesterday. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
All right, Colin, you big video game guy?
Used to be.
When you were a kid?
When I was 9. 9 to 12, I was a big Asteroids Pac-Man kid, yeah.
Well, we don't really usually talk video games, but this is interesting. So the Madden 19 ratings came out, and Aaron Rodgers scored the highest rating in the game with an overall score of 99. And it's worth noting that Tom Brady has an overall rating of 96. He had a game-high 99 last season. So it appears that the developers at Madden expect a bit of a decline for Brady.
Yeah.
They're seeing the end of the road for the GOAT.
This is exactly what I would do.
So you think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a better year than Brady?
Yeah, and I think right now he's a probably slightly better player. This doesn't bother me whatsoever.
I mean, if you're a Brady fan, it probably bothers you. I think Aaron Rodgers is amazing, but I don't necessarily like you were talking about it earlier, the GOAT conversation with Tom Brady. To me, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yes, that's fine.
Because you don't play for participation, you play for championships, and Brady is really good at winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, but I'm not offended at all if, like, Jason Whitlock loves Elway, and a lot of people love Manning, and a lot of people in Miami say Marino had more talent. I'm not bothered by any of that. I think you can make the argument that Brady has been massively elevated by the system and his coach. And now Belichick got fired without Brady. But I don't have any emotion, anxiety if somebody says Aaron's better than Tom. Like right now, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm good with that.
No, I mean, I love Marino. It doesn't bother me necessarily. I'm just saying if I was doing it, I would put Tom Brady there. I mean, he only threw for playoff, record and the Super Bowl. But anyway, so in an Instagram video posted yesterday, Terrell Owens, we talked about this a little earlier, showed off his speed. He ran a 40 and a 4.43.
Yeah.
And a 4.44.
Yeah.
And he was timed by Julio Jones, who's been training with T.O. this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So he's 44 years old, running a 4.44. I don't know exactly what he's trying to prove here other than what we already know, that he's a phenomenal athlete and stays in great shape. Mm-hmm. But he says he is available to come back and play in the NFL. Why, when someone like Des Bryant is on the market and hasn't been signed with someone signed T.O., I don't know. But what is T.O. trying to prove here?
Well, I think T.O. just likes to be T.O. I think T.O. likes to be in the news, and that's okay. He's got a lot of drama. And by the way, we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. So T.O. accomplished what he wanted to accomplish to be on shows like this.
He is great at social media content, that's for sure.
He's terrific.
Finally, we talked earlier about how Enes Kanter is attempting to recruit LeBron to the Knicks. I can't tell. Is he being sarcastic?
No, I think people in New York think it's possible.
People in New York, but does Kanter specifically, is he being sarcastic? It's surprising because Kanter's repeatedly trolled LeBron since they had that on-court altercation in November. And after that game, Kanter took a shot at LeBron saying, I don't care who you are, what you call yourself, king, queen, princess, whatever you are. And then LeBron posted a photo on Instagram of himself standing on the Knicks logo at Madison Square Garden with the caption, "You're welcome, King of New York, my favorite playground, hashtag strive for greatness." Which makes an official LeBron tweet or Instagram post if he puts strive for greatness.
Yeah.
Look, it's hysterical, the idea that LeBron would go to New York anyway. He's not leaving someone like Dan Gilbert and then going and playing for James Dolan. It's just not happening.
Zero chance.
And on top of that,
no chance.
Kanter specifically, you guys had an altercation where you called him a princess.
Right. Is that what he called him?
King, queen, or princess.
Yeah, that's not great. That sticks. That leaves a mark. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
My next guest is the best basketball player that was never drafted. That, according to Kobe Bryant. About an hour ago, I had Baron Davis on. Baron faced this young man in college in the tournament in the first round. And Rashad Phillips went toe-to-toe with him. Scored the same, shot the same, all over the floor. He is now a college basketball NBA guru working with the IMG Academy. First time on this show, Rashad Phillips. Let's bring him in. We got a draft Thursday.
Thank you.
We got a lot of stuff here. So I'm going to ask you one question, then I'm going to go to a break and bring it back for the whole thing. All right, young man, how old are you?
I'm 40 years old.
Man, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
You really do. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff here I love. First thing, here are your NBA draft prospect rankings.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the one I love. I tend to think as Americans, we want to say nice things about other countries. Yeah. So we always fault to overly positive about international players.
Yeah.
This is my belief,
yeah.
is that we'll bang on our guys, but the foreign player, the international player, we put our arms around him. Dick Vitale said this for years. We'll beat up a kid from Chicago and nitpick him, but the kid from Germany's amazing. You have number 12, Luka Doncic, who, by the way, everybody in the world says should go number 1. I looked at his tape, and he doesn't look athletic to me. Why don't you like him?
Well, when you look at Luka Doncic, here's a kid that was he's a European sensation,
right,
obviously. But when you look at him on tape, when I've watched him, his Feet is really slow.
Yeah.
I mean, feet is slower than rush hour traffic, okay?
Just
really slow. He's going to have trouble defending the NBA wings, just doesn't move really well, but has a great IQ, great understanding of the game. He's able to break people down, make plays, but at the NBA level, it's a totally different game than the European game. And we tend to over-sensationalize European play because we can't really put our finger on it, so we just say something nice.
This is what I've said. It's nothing against. No. Listen, it's given us great players. I was a Tony Kukoc guy, Dirk Nowitzki guy. But we tend to puff up European players, and then we crush all of our college kids. By the way, European basketball, is it unfair for me to say it's more finesse than our league?
Yes, it is. It's more finesse.
It's a softer league.
It is what it is. That's what it is. Guys play softer. The rules are a little bit different. The referees call a little bit more. I mean, I played 8 years overseas, so I'm speaking from experience here.
And it's a softer league.
It's a bit of a softer league, but there's some really high caliber players over there, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, there's skill over there.
Very skilled.
But are they giving you D-Wade toughness, MJ toughness, Kobe toughness?
No.
That's my argument, that they don't. So you have Luka Doncic, number 12, which I love. Okay, I'm going to take a break and come back because there's one thing I totally, completely disagree with you.
Yeah.
The best player never drafted according to Kobe, college basketball, IMG, guru, and heck of a player. We're going to dive into some NBA stuff. Very well connected. Back in a second, Draft Thursday. Stick around. Welcome back. Rashad Phillips, IMG Academy. Kobe calls him the greatest player never drafted. This guy's a 40-year-old. He's a draft guru, and I already like him because he's got Luka Doncic going 12, and everybody else has him going number 1. And I watched the video all weekend, and I thought he's puffy and unathletic, and he's not a game changer, and stop overstating the value and talent of international players. Okay, let's go back to your board.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're asking me who I would draft number 1, it's the kid at Duke, Marvin Bagley. Every time I watched him, he got better. I think offensively, he's a very creative guy that eventually may end up hitting a 3 or 2. You've got him going 5. What say you?
Well, with my players ranking, it's more of a talent evaluation type thing. But with Marvin Bagley, I really like him from the offensive standpoint. But defensively, he has some tight hips. He's going to struggle defending the post a little bit. But on the offensive end, I really like him. Reminds me a little bit of Chris Bosh, a little splash of Michael Beasley. So Bagley is tough on the offensive end, but defensively is where I think he's going to struggle a little bit.
Can he go out in the wing and guard somebody?
That's the problem. That's going to be the problem with him having to guard like a Jason Tatum.
So he's not big enough to defend a DeAndre Jordan, and he's not quick enough to defend a Paul George.
So he's a little stuck in between there. That's why I'm skeptical there. But offensively, I think when you draft a kid like this, you're going to get an offensive contributor. This kid is not going to struggle scoring points at all. Just a little tight in the hips, but I really like Marvin Bagley.
Okay, Trey Young. Are we looking at Marvin Bagley here? Yeah, here's Marvin. I want our TV audience to watch this. I'm going to take you. Yeah. He's my number 1 pick. I like his body.
Okay.
Oh God, I like him.
He got a great motor. Look at that motor.
Look at time out. Look at his length. Oh, I like him a lot. Look at that.
That looked like Artis Gilmore.
Man, look at that sweet left. Oh, I like him. I think you should reconsider. You have a couple days. I like him. He's my best player in the draft. I like him a lot.
I like Bagley too. I mean, I like Bagley.
Man, you're talking about hips. I'll tell you, I'm talking wallet. That guy's going to make you a lot of money.
Yeah. And
look at that.
That's a great move. Artis Gilmore type in the post.
God, I like the way he looks. Okay, now Trey Young.
Yeah.
God, Rashad, I'm just starting to like you. This guy's going to get drafted so high because of Steph Curry. I think he's got bust potential. Why do you have him 1?
They all got bust potential, first of all. Okay, when you look at a guy like Trey Young, the NBA is predicated on dynamic point guard play.
Right now.
Every great team in the NBA right now has one thing in common, and that's a dynamic point guard. Trey Young epitomizes the point guard position. Here's a guy that averaged 40 points a game in high school, got the narrative that he was going to be too small in college. He comes to college, leads the nation in scoring and assists.
Damn, he's quick.
So this is a guy that has great vision.
Ooh.
He can get in the lane. He can score. He make guys around him better. And what he does have similarities with Steph Curry is the word magnetism. He attracts people. People love to play with him. This is a kid that's going to attract free agents to come play with him and excite the crowd with deep threes like that.
All right, Mo Bamba is number 2. I would draft him on name alone. Everybody now likes Mo Bamba. When I looked at him physically, I thought, there's a Greek freak thing here. The wingspan, he's young. Giannis wasn't great when he walked into the league. Who do you see him as?
Mo Bamba reminds me a lot of Anthony Davis. If you look at Anthony Davis' tape from Kentucky and Mo Bamba's tape with Texas, you will see a lot of similarities. Guys that he can play with his back to the basket, but when he got to the NBA, Anthony Davis evolved as a face-up scorer, and Mo Bamba at Texas didn't get to utilize facing up the basket.
It looks like he's raw, though. He looks raw.
No, these are watch he soar over this guy here. Like, that's just unicorn type stuff there. But when you look at Mo Bamba, even in his workouts now, he's doing a lot of stuff facing the basket. And this is a kid that has Anthony Davis type of skill set. You mark my words, Mo Bamba is a stud.
He got a little bit of a bird chest, though. We got any dog in this guy? Any got any alpha? He's like Andrew Wiggins with a wingspan. I don't know. I don't know if I see it with him.
He got, second in the country in block shots. He's a unicorn. He can finish. This is a guy you put on Kevin Durant. He's a defensive neutralizer. You put him on Kevin Durant. You put him on Giannis over at Milwaukee. This is a guy that can defend those long, lanky scoring wings without your help. Like, you can utilize this kid in multiple ways, and this guy is a walking unicorn.
Okay, everybody loves DeAndre Ayton out of Arizona. Now, I will say, just like video, he's a freak.
Yes.
There used to be a football player. He's got a little J.J. Watt, a little Javon Curse, where you watch him among other football players and you're like, oh, he doesn't look like any of them. There are guys that physically, DNA-wise, they just jump off the tape. The kid at Arizona. But you know what I see? I see DeAndre Jordan. I see a bunch of lobs for dunks, but you can marginalize him because he's not going to handle the ball. And he can't shoot a three. Why does everybody love this guy?
Well, for those reasons that you just said, when you look at DeAndre Ayton, he's a powerful guy, can play with his back to the basket, very strong, physically bigger than everybody in college.
By far.
So you have to take that in consideration.
Ooh.
But I think he's just a traditional back to the basket scorer. I see 17 points, 11 rebounds from this type of guy. He's going to be a good NBA player now, Colin. He's going to be a good NBA player. All right, he's not going to be a bust. This is a kid that can actually play the game. He moves really well, and he has some alpha in him. He's tough.
No. I watched enough Arizona games. I watched him play about 4 games, and he gets in the second half late in games. He'd take it over.
Yeah,
he plays with attitude.
Yeah, he got a little mean streak, and that's what I like about him. He's a competitor. He competes. He plays with some of that Kevin Garnett kind of passion sometimes, and you got to respect guys that play
now,
like that.
Is this draft any good?
It's got some players in here. Like, you can go deep in the draft and find some guys.
Okay, who's a bust? Can you say that, or are you allowed to say that? If there was a guy, like Luka Doncic, everybody's got him number 1. I'm telling you, I watched the tape. He looks pudgy. He doesn't look athletic to me.
I think Luka Doncic should be on a better team. I think they're going to overdraft him. I believe he's a 14, 15, 16 pick. How about the Clippers and San Antonio swap some picks, San Antonio move up and get Luka Doncic, and I think he'll be a good player there.
In their system? With an elite coach?
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. By the way, LeBron, you're an IMG Academy guy. You know a lot of insiders. LeBron to the Lakers, you think it's going to happen? What's going to happen?
I think it's going to happen. I think he goes to L.A., and it will have a little bit of a ripple effect in the West because there were teams that struggled to get in the playoffs this year, like OKC, Utah, San Antonio. They were like one game apart from each other. The Lakers finished 11th. They didn't make the playoffs. Well, obviously with LeBron, they make the playoffs, which means one of those West teams gets pushed out. So I believe that this will be Russell Westbrook's last season in OKC.
Why? Because he won't make the playoffs? Because Paul George goes to L.A., Russell's by himself, And by the way, you can't build a team with him. And somebody else. Dude, what's this mean? Keep going?
Not you can't build a team around him. I'm not going that far. This is my favorite player in the NBA. I'm not going that far, Colin.
Okay, but what you're saying is Paul George, will he be a Laker?
90% yes.
Okay. So that means Westbrook now has been tagged as impossible to play with.
No, let me finish. Let me finish, Colin. Now, when Westbrook leaves, I think he should leave and go to the Clippers.
That's not bad. I'm not against that.
I think he's going to leave OKC for the LA Clippers, and I believe he's going to have some guys there surrounding him where he can actually be in that fold.
He's your favorite player?
He's one of my favorite players. Russell Westbrook is a mix of Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson.
A lot more Iverson.
Come on, man.
Okay. One more thing. Joy, back me up on this. Show more video of Marvin Bagley. He should be the number 1 pick. How can you watch this video? This guy is smooth as a Marvin Gaye record. This guy is – the Kings are going to take him at number 2. I like your draft board. You got – this guy is – oh, my God. Look at his game.
Yeah, he can
look at
stroke
that stroke.
it. He can stroke it.
Look at this. Oh, my God. He's butter. Look at that.
He's smooth. Finish it. Good pass, Wendell Carter Jr.
Oh,
it has nothing to do with that Duke uniform, Colin?
No, I've never seen them play. I am above bias.
Thank you, Joy. She finally called you out. They haven't showed one defensive clip either.
Those are boring. Who cares about defense? All right, Rashad Phillips, good meeting you, bud. Car shopping's confusing. Ton of terms, dealer price, list price, invoice. Here's what's not confusing. TrueCar.com. Check out their true price. Save $3,000 off MSRP. How great was Rashad Phillips? You better come back. It's the Herd. See you tomorrow.